Oh, yeah, God, can't do anything.
Have at it.
I'd like to call this order of the Festus City Council, or this meeting of the Festus City Council to order. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Here.
Councilman Underwood, Councilwoman Templeton,
Here.
Councilman Weiner,
Here.
Councilman Dennis,
Here.
Councilman Benz,
Here.
Councilman Cook, Councilman Tenen.
We do have a quorum, pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight's bills total $1,196,246.47.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yes. The agenda passes. Remarks of visitors.
We have none.
Next thing on the agenda is bids. Our first bid is for a rescue jack system. Staff report, please.
Evening, everyone. We're looking to upgrade our toolbox a little bit, buy some rescue jacks for vehicle extrications. This is a single source provider due to the fact that it's a territorial thing. The brand that we're going with, they're only allowed to, so many people can sell in certain areas, and he's the only one in this area that can sell this brand of lifting jacks. We budgeted $16,000. My recommendation to purchase the rescue jacks through AEC Fire Safety and Security for $15,113.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid from AEC Fire Safety and Security for $15,113.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Motion passes. Chief,
Thank you.
go ahead and buy them.
Thank you very much.
And next item of business is for outdoor warning siren.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, thank you all for your time tonight. I have a number of things I'll run through. The first one being our emergency warning system. We've got a couple sirens that need some, not so much maintenance, but these are technology upgrades that makes them to where they can talk a little bit better with the rest of the sirens that we've got. As we were just starting the meeting, Captain Wendell and I were just discussing the fact that perhaps it's appropriate for us to review the system as a whole this year. So that's something that he and I will probably do. Make sure we've got the most up-to-date thing. But what this does right now, it just keeps the sirens that we have functional and working like they're supposed to. You might recall that I have them maintenance every year. And these are items that came up that last maintenance. So we budgeted $10,000 for that. The bid from the outdoor warning consulting company is $9,986.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the purchase for the equipment from Outdoor Warning Consulting LLC for $9,986. Motion's been made
Second.
and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Vins,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
yes,
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you all. Now, Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you'll turn your attention to the four-post vehicle lift, that item was also listed and approved in the budget. Unfortunately, like a lot of the materials and things that we've been trying to purchase this year, the prices that we were quoted pre-budget and now the price that they cost post-budget are a little bit different. So even though the bid amount that we got off state bid was under 35,000, it's now over that by a small sum. We're actually looking at $37,229.37 for the four-post lift. This is again a safety device for our mechanic and his helper to be able to get in there and use to work on our vehicles, our big trucks. We can work on pretty much everything with this new lift. And so that's what we'd like to do is purchase this lift, please, for $37,229.37.
Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid from Mohawk Lifts.
So moved.
$37,229.37.
So move again.
Motion's been made and seconded. Thank you. Roll call,
Yes, sir.
please.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Vins,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
yes,
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you all. The next item before you this evening is the purchase of the new backhoe for the water and sewer department. You might notice that, again, this is one of those situations where the figure that we received in the budget, we were told actually in advance that it was going up. And so this one we were actually able to anticipate for, but everything, it seems, the costs are just skyrocketing here. And we're, even with our discount, these things are still going up. So my request this evening is to purchase the new 2022 model backhoe for $114,690. As of this date, I do not have word from John Deere whether or not there's any problems going to be associated with the worker strike that's going on. If I do get word of that, of course, I'll let you guys and finance department know. But as of right now, we're still being told we can get a delivery this year. So that's what we're being told.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, it looks like it's under budget,
Yeah. Sorry. Well,
We
it
budgeted
was-
117 and it's 114,690.
It was more than what
It
it
was
originally
last
was
year.
when we called them the first time. Yeah, we called them the first time and they told us what the price was. And it's going up 7% if you don't order in the next 30 days. And it was impossible for us to order in 30 days. So one of those deals.
Be selling the old one?
You know, we've talked about maybe handing it down or moving one down from that and then maybe getting rid of another one. So I think we're going to shuffle some around. I don't know if Parks Department maybe wants it, but we'll see what, we'll see.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So on the extended warranty, Matt, are you happy with that? You've investigated that and that's the determination you've made?
I believe that's a pretty normal practice that we get those all the time. We get those extended warranties. So the difficulty is we can't drive the backhoe to be warranted, be worked on. And so with the extended warranty, we have the ability to have those folks, John Deere people, come to us. And so it's a little bit better than having to have it trucked and trailered all the way up to the city.
Sure, sure. So I guess what I'm asking is you have 3 years on there or 6,000 total hours. is that reasonable that if something is going to go wrong, that would initially go wrong in those initial 3 years and that we'd be able to cover it after that?
Gosh, I would certainly think so. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, sir. Matt, if we don't think we're gonna be able to work this deal out with John Deere, and I guess they're on our, the pre-bid thing, would we perhaps look at a Kubota or one of the other, the only other one I know of, but
You know,
I want to
well,
stick with John Deere.
Case makes a darn good backhoe. This
Right.
is the only organization I've ever worked for that buys John Deere backhoes. So I would say yes, there are plenty of other manufacturers that have comparable backhoes that we could get. It's just the guys are used to John Deere, so that's what they like.
So what would be a reasonable amount of time that we don't get a backhoe that we would go out for something different?
Well, I believe that Chuck told me they're expecting a June delivery. So if we
Okay.
get word that they're unable to fulfill that or it gets pushed into next fiscal year, we'll most certainly consider other
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, because I think there's other brands out there. I know how you get, we like one brand.
Right.
So, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to purchase a 2022 backhoe from Herb Equipment for $114,690.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton. Yes. Councilman Underwood. Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Tinnen,
Yes.
Councilman Vins.
Yes.
Motion has been passed. Purchase of a 20-foot 2022 equipment trailer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, for you as the contemplated purchase of this trailer. It does not replace that trailer. This is going to be a new trailer for our, we already have one that's very similar to this that we use to transport equipment to and from the job site. The problem is sometimes we have 2, if not 3 crews out working, and that means one person gets to play trolley lift all day, moving equipment back and forth and all over the place, which isn't greatly efficient. So this hopefully is going to increase our efficiency, allow us to mobilize and get out and work on jobs quicker, and also at the end of the day, get everybody home by close of that. So we don't have an overtime situation. So this one is a little bit over budget, $575 about, but we still would like to purchase the trailer for $16,574.55.
Any questions?
Matt, is this a fifth wheel trailer or is it a bumper?
I believe this is just a bumper.
It's panel hitch.
Yeah, don't lie.
Should we think about a fifth wheel pulling that big equipment?
Well, we did. But you know that the guys are not used to driving one of those. And so we've got, 10 or 15 guys that are used to driving a trailer with a bumper hitch. And you change the point in which everything turns on that trailer and it can cause a lot of people some problems. So we just thought it'd be easier to just stay with what we've got. That's what everybody's used to. That's what the guys are, that's what they drive.
Well, plus you can pull it behind your dump trucks too, your bigger. dump
Yeah,
trucks.
that's a good point. And we can pull it behind the big dump trucks too. That's a good point. We did consider that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So really you're not, I've had experiences with fifth wheels in the past and you're really not going that far. So it should be plenty safe. And I guess Jim did bring up a good point about the dump trucks. So thanks.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions?
I make a motion, accept the bid on the trailer with the panel hitch.
Motion's been made
Second?
and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Tinnen,
Yes.
Councilman Vins,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilwoman Templeton.
Yes.
Motion passes. Go ahead and buy the trailer.
Thank you, sir.
Next thing on the agenda is the purchase of a sewer vector truck.
Thank you all. This is last, but certainly is not least. Fire chief liked a kid last week that he was buying a bigger truck than me, but I think now cumulatively I'll be surpassing him. As you all know, we have a fleet of 2 Vector trucks. One of those will be replaced with this sale. It's a 1993 model unit. These are probably the single most expensive piece of equipment that we'll have in our fleet. It also is a piece of equipment that gets used almost every single day. We were fortunate when we were going through the pre-bid portion of our work this previous budget year, and we're able to demo several machines. One of the machines that we demoed that we really liked, the manufacturer actually offered us to sell that demo unit at a savings. And so we're actually able to get the unit we want at a savings greater than what we could realize if we just utilized the state bid. And so that's what you have before you tonight for consideration, is the purchase of the co-equipment Vector truck for $411,724. Realizing that savings of about $32,000 from it being a demo unit with about 5,000 miles on it.
Any questions? Anytime we can save $32,000 is a good day. I'll entertain a motion to accept the bid for the vac truck for $411,724 from COE Equipment.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood, Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Vins,
Yes.
Councilman Tennant.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Good job, Matt.
Next on the agenda is ordinances and resolutions. Tonight, we have a resolution number 4653.5. Would the clerk please read the resolution?
Resolution number 4653.5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri to establish premium pay for essential employees using funds received under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
All, I know we've been talking about this since May, when initially the ARPA funds were announced. We've received our first tranche of funding here a couple of months ago. Other pieces of how the funding can be utilized are something that's still in discussion, but it is very clear. And then we did check, of course, with our auditors, and Brian also had a look at this as well. That we can provide premium pay, a one-time payment to our employees, but then prorated in a way that essentially for those that have been with us for the entirety of the pandemic would receive a higher payment than those that perhaps joined us midstream. So we picked November 1st as a date of last year. It's kind of halfway between here and there, and a good way to basically try to come up with a way to compensate all of our employees, whether they're full-time, part-time, or even our volunteers, specifically in our fire department. So this is, as we've discussed, probably, I think, for about the last 5 months now. And I'd be happy to entertain any of your questions or comments or otherwise.
How is the amount determined for the volunteer fire department?
It was just something that we came up with. We also didn't want to necessarily get them. Most of our volunteer firefighters, if not all of our volunteer firefighters, work for other departments. So we didn't want to do anything that would get them afoul of their payroll with their other departments at the same time.
Here's my question.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
An essential employee description.
Well, it's pretty broad. The ARPA description of clearly anyone that provided services during the pandemic would be considered an essential employee, especially in government. And it's obviously you can sit there and off the top, you can say those that are in public safety, obviously those that are in solid waste, those that are in water and sewer certainly would qualify. But then when you look at, say, the part-time folks that work at the library and the extra effort that they had to go through to provide service to those who still wanted to be able to check out books, the language is very broad as far as the American Rescue Plan Act is concerned.
I would simply like to say that Greg has been very supportive of this for a long time, and that he has spoken very highly of the employees of the city and how well they have done during this pandemic. And without their work habits and their dedication, that things would not have run as smoothly as they have. So I am 100% behind these one-time payments for them. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 4653.5.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded.
Don't we roll call that?
Roll call, please.
Councilman Tinnen,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
That one I have to abstain.
Yes.
I have to abstain from.
okay. Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next thing we have tonight is ordinance number 4654 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read the bill for the first time?
Bill number 4654, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the final plat of Birchwood Estates Plat 4 and establishing an effective date.
Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is Birchwood Estates, and it's their fourth phase. They've got everything in as they should have. If anyone's been up there recently, you've seen all the streets. This does not include the final two phases, but it's the fourth phase. They just finished up with the gas and they're ready to go. And Ryan is itching to build in there. Went through P&Z unanimously on Thursday. They sure do. Yep, they absolutely. Yeah, the city actually will go through and mark spots for them to core. They do a compression test as they're pouring, and they did have a very small area that came up deficient, and they have already reimbursed the city for that for future repairs if necessary.
It's worth mentioning that Mark and I are working together to, I guess, increase the specification for the roads that are being placed in our new subdivision, so that new roads perhaps that'll be platted in the future, not the ones that are already currently platted, but new roads will be to a greater specification. So the Planning Commission's been reviewing that already, and that'll come to your all for a final review here very soon. I was going to say shortly, very soon.
We do not, nope. Pardon me, but the engineers on site, the site development engineers check it.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Is there any council member that'd like to have this bill carried over to the next meeting? Hearing none, could I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4654 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4654 for the second time?
Bill number 4654, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, approving the final plat of Birchwood Estates Plat 4 and establishing an effective date. Councilman Tenon,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilwoman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Underwood.
Thank you all very much.
Bill 4654 has passed. New business.
Yes, sir. Included in your packets this evening for your digestion and hopefully review and comment. This is a draft of our benchmark satisfaction survey. This would be the first of something that we would do on an annual basis, not an annual, I'm sorry, every other year. The idea, of course, is for us to have a tool to identify services and programs, understand satisfaction by the residents. It can be used for budgets and strategic plans, but also show our willingness to engage with our citizens. So we were able to mail out with the Festus focus to 5,500 active residential utility accounts. We also provided an online option. We received 535 responses. Gave us a margin of error of ±4%. There's a lot of information in here. Really, at the end of the day, I want you to have an opportunity to look at kind of where we came down on the answers to everything, but also the demographics, I think, are a key piece to this about how long they lived here. Do they work or are they retired? Do they own their home? What type of home do you live in? And where are they located? Predominantly, we have single-family homeowners that are retired and have lived in the city for over 10 years. So it goes to show the stability of our residents and the fact that they've decided to call Festus home for an extended period of time. I won't read all of this to you in relation to services. But I think a couple of highlights, a large respondents, nearly 2/3, 65%, said that they felt they get a good return as a taxpayer. And I think that speaks volumes. Beyond that, there were some specific questions as far as parks and recreation, tourism, ongoing services, priorities, how they get their information about the city. And Kevin will be glad to hear that the newspaper scored high. So there you go. And funding opportunities. I think part of the reason why we put this together was to get a feel for what the residents' temperature was in reference to the support of a use tax, which would be the internet sales tax. Granted, you're not going to get a lot of positive, but we did get some positive related to water quality, recreation facilities, recreation programs, and sanitary sewer maintenance all responded better than 40%. So I think that's something we can look at when you back up and look at the priorities. A lot of those items scored high, specifically when you get into ongoing services, talking about stormwater, water quality, sanitary sewer, recreation programs and services. So I don't want to necessarily make any conclusions for you. I want you guys to have the opportunity to spend some time with this. Once we give it, say, a week or so, say at our next council meeting, if everybody's fine, with it, I'd like to put this out to the public. I think it would show that we listened. We want to share this information with them, make sure that they know that we know. But be happy to, like I said, at this moment, if you've had a chance to look at it or have any specific questions about it, happy to answer them at this time, but can do so in the coming weeks as well. Yeah, I think you get, plus it gives us a gauge, Dave. I think that's the best thing about it is, so this is the foundation. This is the bottom floor. And 2 years from now, hopefully, we'll see, the bad scores go down and the high scores go up. I think it gives us a sense of maybe where we're having some slippage. Public safety scored very high. Police and fire protection in the city of Festus, the residents are very, very pleased with those two departments. So we need to be able to maintain that at the same time. There's some other areas where they'd like to see some attention. Streets and neighborhoods, not necessarily major streets, but streets and neighborhoods or sidewalks. So those are the areas that maybe we focus on a little bit more. Obviously, the big one that I'm proud of, and I know we've talked about this individually off and on here as these numbers were coming in, but we got to give ourselves a little credit in the fact that we've anticipated some of these items. The Water Authority is investing $12 million in a new collector well, which will decrease our dependency on our ground wells, which will improve water quality. Water quality was one of those areas where we were deficient. The fact that we're spending more money by about another $250,000 on street repair in the coming year shows that we were anticipating that we might see some of these scores come in the way they were. So one, I think a good job on our part of being a little, predictive and knowing where those deficiencies are. But then to have it reinforced here by this survey and to get like I said, it's one method of taking the community's temperature. It shouldn't be the only method. Obviously, the job that you do, talking with your neighbors, talking to the business owners is a key part of that as well. Okay. Anything else about that, guys? Yeah, and like I said, if you get a chance to spend a little time with it, take a look at it. I think at the end of the day, like I said, I want to get this out in front of the public, whether we do it through the Focus, whether we put ads in the newspaper or on the radio or whatever the case may be, just to talk about it. But I think it then also hopefully positions us to be able to say in the coming months that maybe we do see a funding opportunity with the internet sales tax and that we would like to use it to address these specific deficiencies. Whether it's, you talk about these items that came up on the low side as far as scoring, sanitary sewer maintenance, water quality, those sorts of things. So just again, I want you to spend a little bit of time with it, but I wanted to give it to you in a presentation. Staff had a chance to take a look at this here a couple of weeks ago. I think we like what it says, and we know that we have some work to do at the same time. I think at the end of the day, I'd like to get a go sign from you guys to say, hey, let's put this out there. So spend some time with it. Make sure that any questions you might have related to it, things that we may want to tweak or change, we get that addressed, and then we can get it out there for the public to start consuming it as well.
Just one quick thing here. Yes. So I think it's fantastic, actually, that we're getting some statistical analysis being done on the demands of our citizens. Everybody speaks with citizens and gets different types of input as far as what a few may feel, but to get this variety of data and be able to respond to it, I think is really, really, really important. This is the first time in my years that I've been here that I've seen this come through. So I think it's important. I think it's well needed, and I look forward to having more surveys like this to be able to respond to the local citizens.
Any other comments? Thank you very much. Do we have any old business?
No, sir.
No old business. Mayor and council reports. Councilman Boyer.
Matt, I wanted to thank you once again and the gentleman that did the welding down there on the fencing that goes over South Adams.
You did a very fine job. Thank you
He
for the
did. It
compliment.
looks good. The reflective tape on there looks excellent. Color turned out nice and the
Yes, sir.
flat stock looks good on there. Bolted down good. I noticed you're doing the street thing that we talked about, maintaining the concrete, getting it repaired. I haven't been down South Adams last couple of days we've been going, but there's some bad spots down right before you get to A highway. There's some concrete that's some of it's missing, Linda. So need to check that, maybe put a little blue dot by that.
Okay.
That's about all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Weiner.
Just a couple of things. I'll reiterate what Councilman Boyer said about the handrail, the guard over there on South Second. Good job on that. And also, Josh, thank you for the pickleball lights, getting those back up and running. A few little tweaks still probably need to be worked on with those, but thank you for that. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Dennis.
Just noticed a while ago, coming back from Kyle's doctor, picking up his prescriptions, South Second behind Main Street, you go down to where the Twin City Veterinary Clinic is. There's a field down there and it has like a miniature skate park or skate scooter thing riding. And I just wanted to know if anybody knew who had that or if that's a private deal.
Kevin, that's the Creeds put that in, the folks that own Pedal and Pie.
Yeah.
They have temporary use of that lot, which is owned by Lloyd Jones. That is a portable pump track. So you can take those bicycles, the smaller bicycles the kids have that don't require you to pedal, you pump on them instead. You're able to take a spin around their portable pump track. I know during Twin City days, they had it over in Crystal City, but they also have it on their that lot that they're using off of 2nd Street there. And yeah, I've seen kids on skateboards and their larger bikes as well have been on that. So the Creeds are providing that for the kids to use. But again, it's a temporary setup. Didn't require any inspections or permits by the city. It's just there. And then they can move it from location to location when they have special events.
It seemed to me like it's very popular amongst the young people riding those stand-up push scooters, and I don't know what all else, but maybe that's something that we could look at maybe putting in somewhere. It looks like you can move it, or it wouldn't be. I know years ago we had some sort of skate park thing. It was just too much, but maybe something in the future we could look at of having one, getting some cost on it, or some place to put it, or even work with those folks. But I thought it was pretty dandy. My wife told me about it, and I drove by there today, and pretty neat little track. So that's all I have, sir.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Councilman Tenen.
I just had one question. We approved a hotel over there in Goodwin Brothers.
Yep.
Whatever happened to that?
It's a good question. I visit with Mr. Goodwin on a regular basis. The developers obviously picked the possibly worst possible time to try to build a hotel when COVID hit, and then construction prices, as you well know, went through the roof. They fully intend to build. I think developments in the coming weeks and months will probably make it easier for them to find the time and resources to do that. So the agreement that we have, which was the property tax abatement for 10 years, still exists. We would probably have to update some of the documents, some of the dated documents that are associated with that. But I know Larry had spoke with the developer, and they're biding their time, but they own the property and they say they still intend to build.
I was just curious because nothing's been going on, but I kind of thought about that too. I think the hotels are not doing so great right now, so probably the reason. But sounds good to me. Just curious. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Vance.
Our crosswalks. I see other cities have signs up saying you must stop if people are walking. Is that something or is that only certain spots of the city that's allowed?
It's not allowed or not allowed. It's more of a
Ordinance?
well, no, it's not even an ordinance. It's whether we wish to incur the additional expense to put the signs up. They're typically spec'd on all of our newer STP projects. You will see vehicles must yield for pedestrians in the crosswalk. Those signs are fairly common. And certainly we see those spec'd when we have new construction. We don't have a requirement presently that states that they need to be put up, but it's certainly something we can look at. I don't know,
Well,
Matt, if you had any thoughts on that, or
I just, people, they just said people were rude when they were walking, and so I just told them I forgot about it. Yeah, I didn't know if there was a law or thing, if there's a crosswalk, or if we had to put something up to show it, or.
well, I mean, the signs say it's the state law that they're supposed to yield. So it's stating what everyone should know. It doesn't necessarily mean everybody does know.
Yeah.
I'm sure our friends in law enforcement could tell you half the time, well, 99% of the time, it's ignorance of the law is no protection from it, so to speak. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if that was something that you would like to see a spec on more crosswalks, I think certainly on mid-block crossings, things like that.
I would say, I mean, I guess if you do one, you got to do a lot of them, because the fact people will be saying, why is this one not as important as the other one? I guess you'd say, because you see people are walking more. And I mean, our streets are nicer, our sidewalks are better, people are walking. And when they walk that crosswalk, they expect someone to acknowledge, but they're not. And that's why they said they're kind of scared, because there's nothing that's got a sign up saying, like you said, yield or stop to pedestrians. And so I wasn't sure what the rule or law was on that.
Well, the law is, there's no requirement for the sign. The law is merely, I should say, sign is just reminding you of what the state law is.
I see it a lot at other places. That's why I didn't know if we needed to start putting more signs up at our crosswalks. I mean, I know not every street has a crosswalk, but I mean, seems like.
Certainly at our busy intersections.
Right.
Okay.
So it's just something if we could do, I guess we need to start doing. And Mr. Wendell, the football games, for instance, there at, was it 3rd Street in the track, we put up temporary stop signs.
We don't do that. That's part of the traffic control for the schools events.
Because people were asking me if that was legal or if that was and I said, I'm assuming it's because
it's not an enforceable stop sign as far as we are go, because there's no ordinance that states that those are placed there. Without an ordinance, we can't enforce that as an appropriate stop sign.
Okay.
That's more or less the event people that run all the parking for the schools put those up just to try to slow
for
people
safety.
down and
Yeah.
for safety. Yeah.
Well, that's what I suggested and told them too. I assume that's what it is, but some of them, they just got their mind like it's not legal. I'm gonna, but it's rude, like you said, but it's I mean, it's there for, you got a lot of people there at the games and stuff, or track or whatever it may be.
And then you got cars coming in and out of the stadium itself, and just kind of slows people down so they can get those out of there safely.
Yeah.
But
Okay. That was the biggest thing I've had people approach me on, and I just told them I'd bring that up. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Councilwoman Templeton.
Kind of build off what Bobby said, as far as a crosswalk would be great to have something. Surprisingly enough, is going into Olympia Gymnastics. As a parent of one of those kids for years and years, you would think being right by the fire station, I swear people would speed up when they saw that you were trying to cross. And those kids are coming and going after dark. So that would be one I would like to see. And the other was kind of what is the rotation schedule for the flashing speed signs? Is there a,
Space More on Demand, we've responded to, well, and I had John Richardson on the phone just last week. He wanted to know if we could move one from a location the next time we move one to West Main. So I think for the most part, with the exception of maybe one resident, the response has been very positive. We did put the one up on Horine as requested. They can move. I think more so based on, I think if the PD is dealing with a particular trouble spot, or if you're seeing something that you feel needs to.
so I live on North Mill,
Yes, you do.
and from Central up is apparently the takeoff point.
Well, yeah, you get to the
Going-
top of the hill, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but I was also have been out, and when people see that sign, first thing they thought is, oh my God, is there a policeman around here somewhere? So you see the brake lights, and that's, I mean, over the last weekend, and I know it's fall and, whatever, but in front of the whole length of North Mill, from basically Central up has been, and actually it starts below that, but I mean, you can just hear it coming up the street. And it's, there's a lot of kids in that neighborhood. So I just think as many neighborhoods that have quite a bit of traffic as we can get those signs to visit, I think it's a good thing.
I think more than anything else, what I keep hearing about the signs is we didn't buy enough of them. And perhaps that's something we take a look at. Granted, the budget's all of 25 days old now. So we might as well go ahead and wreck it now.
I think it makes people think we're being proactive. We're aware.
No,
We're aware people are doing this. This is how we're trying to, to circumvent this. And I know they put the trackers out to see how much traffic is the road getting and those types of things as well, but.
We'll make sure North Mill is on the list for one of the next stops for the signs as they make their tour of Festus. And
I think this over by the school, I mean, any of those shooting out the end towards West City Park.
Well,
all
what we
those
did
locations.
primarily was focus on how Stephanie gets to and from work. So that was the main reason we put them up where they are. So
I think they're useful. I just think
they are.
it makes
They're a
people
great
think.
tool. They're a great tool. So.
Councilman Underwood.
The only thing I have, back up just a little bit. And, we do the crosswalk sign right there at the station up there. What's over the street there?
Well, by the fire department?
Right.
Okay.
No,
Oh,
coming from the school.
okay. Okay. Yeah. I'll make sure we get it. And if we haven't painted and marked it, we'll make sure that we do. So, okay.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, it's my turn. I think we had a very successful fall cleanup on Saturday. Waste Connections had numerous trucks out there along with our Public Works Department. Everything seemed to run smooth and good job. The other thing I'd like to say is that on this survey that Greg just presented to us, he worked very, very hard on this survey, giving us the results of it, getting it out, get it started, making sure that things ran smooth. And so I would like to say, good job, Greg. Thank you very much. We needed that. The only other thing I'll add is that today there were only 42 cases of COVID in the 63028. So it's on the slide, all the more reason to wear your mask and social distance and get your vaccinations. Is there anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.